Oscar's Childhood, episode 25. Hello, Carrot's here. Welcome. Here we see two little boys in the foreground. That's Gator and Sandy Seaworth. I still haven't fixed up Sandy's wardrobe, but that'll happen shortly. I'd like to see his scales on his legs. And the little boy in the background sitting in the chair reading, that's Gavin Flower. He's a little fairy. You can see his red wings. So both Sandy and Gator are now going to play at holding court. They're both little kings. Looks like they're planning to become good friends. Gator doesn't need any more friends, but I'm sure he'll end up with lots more friends. He's completed his lifetime wish already, and that was to be super popular. He's got more than 20 friends, and he's still a little child. He almost had 20 friends when he was a toddler, so he only had to get another 2 or 3 friends when he aged up to child to be able to get his lifetime wish. That's Eloise there, supervising the pillow fight. Sandy only aged up recently. He's just become a little boy. He was a toddler, little mermaid. He's a clone of Salty Seaworth. That's Erica Wolf. She's a werewolf. I'm keeping her in the boarding school until she's achieved her lifetime wish. She needs to get to level 9 in the athletic career. She's only at level 2 at this point. Gator's a little werewolf too. Erica is his mother, and his big sister Wilhelmina is at the boarding school with them. She was a child when she arrived here, and Gator was a toddler, of course. And Wilhelmina aged up to a teen a while back, and Gator aged up to a child. And they have a brother, Waylon, who is still in Moonlight Falls, which is where they came from. But Waylon isn't aging because the Sims only age in the world that's being played. So only Wilhelmina and Gator and Erica are aging in the wolf family at this point. So it's possible that when they all go home to Moonlight Falls, that Waylon could end up being the youngest. He is a teen. The reason I chose Erica, Gator and Wilhelmina to come here to this boarding school is the 3 of them were living together in a house. Erica had moved out of the family home and left her other son with their father. Another little clone who has recently aged up from toddler to child is Mary Azul. She, of course, is the clone of the mermaid, Mia Azul. And the little sim walking across, she's Jeanette Bright from Barnacle Bay. Not sure how she happened. I found her living with a family in Barnacle Bay, and she didn't really belong with them. She doesn't seem to have any family, so she is living at the boarding school, and she's about to age up to teen. And Mary Azul, of course, is working on her cooking skill. She's got to do cooking and blocks. Little Mary is one of 4 children who came to the boarding school from the Colourful Mermaids household. I broke up the Colourful Mermaids and scattered them around a bit, but these 4 were toddlers in the original Colourful Mermaids household, and the 4 who came from that household are Mary Azul, Sandy Seaworth, Gavin Flower, and the little plant sim Petal. Now, Petal still needs to finish her cooking skill. The boys have all done their cooking skill, and I think Petal's done her block skill, but I'll check. But I don't think any of the others have started their block skill yet, so that's what we're going to be working on later in the video. Jeanette's headed for the kitchen with those dirty plates. So you've had a bit of a look around the middle floor of the boarding school. There was a desire for a 4-player game of pool. Now, the main sim who was wishing for this was Gaylord Coffee, but he's gone to work, and it's been very difficult to get 4 Sims to play pool together at times when Gaylord is available. So these 4 have done it, and the thing that I discovered by accident is that there is a badge available for playing a 4-player game of pool. So I logged in to the website just before they started playing this game, and the badge was duly awarded. I will be putting this game of pool up onto my YouTube channel with just the game of pool, because I have a playlist for random badges that get awarded, and it's been sitting there empty for about a year. I finally got something that doesn't belong anywhere else, because this game is not designed to get badges. So I'll put this pool game up into that random badges playlist. It didn't take very long for them to play it. The thing is, whenever I got them started, when one of them had to go off somewhere shortly within a couple, 2 or 3 hours, they would all just stand around wasting time waiting for when that sim had to head off to work or something. That when I had a big space of time available, like a whole day, none of them were going anywhere in this particular day, must have been on a weekend, then they just got through the game no trouble and in no time at all. For the 4 players, that's on the one on the stripy top there, that's Wilhelmina. She's a teen and a werewolf. And next to her, that is Eric, and he's a teen, and he's going to be Oscar's best buddy when they start travelling around the various worlds when Oscar ages up to teen. Now, the one standing closest to us here with the blue top with the black stripes going down the top, she works in the education career. That's Coral Carpenter. And the other one is Kaylee Flower, and she's in the political career. As I said, Wilhelmina is a werewolf, and she is here with her mother Erica and her little brother Gator. Eric is a witch, and he lives here because of parental neglect. He's been here at the boarding school since he was a toddler. And he's got a little sister who's here as well. Her name is Suzanne, and that's her walking towards the computer at the moment inside there. And they both will stay at the boarding school until they're ready to grow up and live on their own. Eric is nearly there. He's a teen. Although he hasn't been a teen for all that long, he's still got a lot of teen years ahead of him. But he's soon going to be big enough to just go and visit his relatives in other worlds, and he'll take Oscar and Suzanne with him when he goes adventuring. I think that's going to be fun for all of us. Now Kaylee, as you can see, she's got wings, so she is an occult as well. She's a fairy, and most nights she sleeps in one of the fairy houses, although she does have a very bad habit of soaking for way too long in the hot tub. We got the hot tub because she wished for it, and she gets into it and she nearly dies. I see her picture going all orange and reddish because she's hungry and she's tired, but she won't get out. I've got to tell her to get out. I don't know what would happen if I didn't tell her to get out. The hot tub's in the basement, and the fairy houses, there's 2 of them. There's a fairy house on the level below this one, and a fairy castle on the level above. She's being smart, telling them where she's going to put it, and she succeeded. That's it, game over. Badge duly awarded. Eric seems pretty happy about it all. He's thinking about clean dishes by the look of it. And they're all off to do their own thing, whatever that may be. Eric just conjured an apple, just to prove he's a witch. Little Mary's there, she's still working on her cooking skill. She must be almost done. Now we've got to make some room in this boarding school for a couple of children that are living in the township of Moonlight Island. And Bailey Swain is a teen, and the game's going to age her up automatically within a few days. So I'm currently trying to get her to achieve a few of her wishes, and also to get a few extra skills under her belt before I send her back home to Moonlight Falls, where she lives with her father. They're both humans, but they live in the world that belongs to the supernaturals. I think she likes being with the supernaturals. Kaylee's going to go down there and fix that broken all-in-one bathroom, while Suzanne mops it up the floor. There's an ice sculptured chair there that needs selling as well. I think Eric might have been responsible for that. Here's Petal. She's arrived to mop up the floor as well. She's still got to finish her cooking skills. She hasn't quite got to level 3 in child cooking yet. Got to get her aged up, or I've got to get her all trained up in her child skills before I move her out. I think I'll send her back to one of the mermaid households with the 2 little mermaids, because that is where they all started from. Although Petal was originally picked in the Perfect Genetics Challenge household, and I moved a copy of her across to the Colourful Mermaids. There she is, chatting with little Gavin Flower, who also belongs in the Colourful Mermaids household, although I think I'll send him to live with George Flower, who he is the clone of. George currently lives on his own since Cheryl moved out to live with Triton King. Finally, Coral's going to get that sculpture finished. It's been sitting there for days. That garden looks like it's in a terrible state. Going to have to get a few Sims who need some gardening skill to work on that urgently. Now I've sent Bailey out, Bailey Swain. Her lifetime wish is to be a zoologist. She needs to catch 20 small pets in the wild, and that's what she's working on at the moment. Initially she's able to catch the birds, but after a while she can only watch them, so she doesn't bother about them anymore once she can only watch them. And I found she's got a collection helper in her pocket, so that'll make it easy. And that's the Fountain of Youth that came with Hidden Springs, the world Hidden Springs, and she is going to have a drink. They can only drink from it once a day, and it only lets them go for 1 day younger. That's the first time she's had a drink from it, so she's just gained a day, which won't really help her because I'm going to age her up with a cake before she is to be aged up by the game. Back at home, a few Sims are trying to resurrect that garden. They're lucky it hasn't all died from neglect. Of course, they're all getting gardening skill in the process. The only Sim I won't let garden at the moment is Erica, because she's already got to level 10 in gardening. There's Bailey. She's come home too, and she's watering the garden. The garden's starting to look quite a lot better. That's Bailey and her housemates there, just doing the finishing touches. I think there's a few barren plants there and a couple of dead ones. Problem is we don't have anybody with green thumb, so they can't revive the dead plants. In a previous episode, Bailey went shopping at the Blue Building, and she bought all this martial arts equipment because she really wanted to work on her martial arts. So when she finished the gardening downstairs in the basement, I let her come up here to break a few foam boards and try to improve her martial arts skill before she ages up to young adult. Because once she becomes a young adult, she's going to go home. We need room at the boarding school for some more children. Back on the ground floor, somebody is playing guitar as usual. We can't see that. Eric's going to sell that chair. I think he got about 300 or 400 simoleons for it. It was going to melt at any minute, so we had to get rid of it. Coral's almost finished that sculpture. And Bailey's come down because the reason Eric had to get the chair off the sculpting table was mostly to free it up so Bailey could come and fulfill her wish to learn to sculpt something. They didn't really need the money that they got for the sale of that ice chair, but Bailey needed to go and do some sculpting. Isabel's playing the guitar. I thought it was Harvey. Everybody eventually ends up down in this room. I think it's where they've got the most space. Now this is something I didn't expect to see. It's Jeanette and Mary having a water balloon fight inside the house. This seems to be happening quite a lot in these houses in Moonfall Island. And the only thing I can put it down to is we've got houses with huge rooms with large empty spaces on a very steeply sloping lot, and little Sims who want to throw water balloons at each other. Fortunately, when they throw the balloons, they don't make a huge mess inside. While the girls are downstairs having fun throwing water balloons at each other, Eric's come up to the main floor to practice his magic, because Eric's a witch. Erica, in the meantime, has gone outdoors, and she's decided it's time to try out her skills at hunting solo. She's not been doing much of this hunting solo. She's not very experienced at all werewolfing type things. We won't be able to follow her though because she's just too fast, but we'll see her taking off. Just then Bailey came out to check on the mail. She didn't seem to be at all upset about seeing a werewolf on the loose front yard. There's aliens about as well. There's often aliens about this place. That one's an elderly alien. Erica's back at her werewolfing. There she goes. She's not going to leave the house by the look of it. She's just hunting solo around the yard. When she gets more practice, she might decide to take off into the world at large. She's happy. There she goes. See if we can follow her this time. Oh, there's a snake. Caught it. That's what Bailey needs to start doing because she wants to get her lifetime wish before she leaves. And her lifetime wish is zoologist. So she's got to catch 20 minor pets in the wild. There goes Erica again. She always heads back to the house. Next morning, and Coral's off to work. She's always the first to leave in the mornings. Isabel had a desire to get an elixir, and she had some of the ingredients. She didn't have any knowledge of the elixir station, so I got her to read about elixirs, and then she learnt the recipe for one, so now she's making an elixir, and then she'll get her wish to acquire an elixir. This is that room on the ground floor where they all play the guitar. Now, that's little Sandy. He is playing chess on the computer, which is helping his logic skill. And to get his lifetime wish, he needs to get to level 10 in logic and to become a chess grandmaster or something like that. So he's actually working on his lifetime wish at the moment. But then it's school time and off they go to school. Wilhelmina seems to have decided that she likes being in her werewolf form at the moment. That's Oscar. Little Gavin's taking his time. With so many children in the household now, it's a bit like a huge crowd of them coming to catch the bus. Now that's Bailey. She's still a teen, hasn't aged up yet. I think I had to hold her aging off for a couple of days so she could go to school. There's a couple of things that she needed to complete at school before she could age up. Otherwise I would have aged her up already. Now here they are arriving at school. Having all those multiple gates there and the front fence really helps them all get into the school grounds. Of course, it'd be even easier if I didn't have a front fence at all. There's the bus. Look at that mob, all from the one household. The aging up order of those that are here at the moment. Bailey is going to age up to young adult first, and then Jeanette, who is the active sim at the moment. She's got the green thing above her head, the green plumb bob above her head. She will age up after Bailey has aged up. She'll become a teen. Then it'll be Oscar's turn to age up. And I'm starting to think, I was hoping that Oscar was going to age up in this episode, but I'm starting to think that there's just not going to be enough time, because I want to show you a few of the things that Bailey has to do before she finally gets to age up. And then there'll be Jeanette finishing off some skills, because she's got virtually no skills at the moment. She's done her childhood skills and her toddler skills, but she's not been out painting and fishing and writing books and all those sort of things. So I'll have to get her to do a little bit of that sort of thing before we age her up. Not that it makes much difference. She's going to stay at the boarding school as a teen for a bit longer. And when they're teens, that's when they really concentrate on gardening and fishing and cooking. Back at home, the garden's looking heaps better, and I suspect all of those young adults and adult have managed to get their gardening skill up a little as well. Eloise had a wish to use her street art kit to do a mural of some sort, so I told her to do one on the floor just outside. She just did a few letters. It was just a bit of a scrawl. I was hoping for a beautiful picture or something. Then she just sat down in the seat and started reading recipes. Meanwhile, Mary's little imaginary friend doll wanted to come out to play, so we sat it on the ground and it animated. So now she's got the task of making an imaginary friend potion, one of those potions that the imaginary friend drinks to become real. I suppose we're going to see a little bit of her playing with her imaginary friend between now and when it becomes real. Tell you what, she's not going to get the opportunity that requires her to go find a rainbow gem. It keeps popping up, but no, I'm going to make her do the potion. So she's going to spend a lot of time from now on working at the chemistry table. That night, it was prom night, and they're all going home from the prom now. That's Genevieve Steele. You'll see a police car pull up and take somebody home. That is Bailey's car. She has it in her inventory, and she's had this police car in her inventory for several episodes now. Not sure where she got it. It might have been on an after-school trip to the police station. That's her preferred vehicle. Even as a teen, ever she goes anywhere, she goes in the police car. That's Anne Steele walking down the street there now. That could be Wilhelmina, I think. She's going home in a taxi. And Eric? That a burglar running across. It's late at night. I suppose the burglars are out. Eric's going home on his broom. He's a witch. Looks like there's a few Sims out the back playing with the basketball hoop. That'll be Bonnie Steele with her children. She's a mad scientist. Lives just down the road from the boarding school. That could be Bailey coming out now. Does she call up a police car? Yep, that's it. There's Bailey going home. I guess there's quite a few other teens from around town. We don't necessarily know many of the other teens in town, I don't think. So that'll do for the prom. The school was a busy place this night because not only was there a prom, but there was some sort of vote counting going on. And Kaylee Flowers in the Political Courier, and she had to go to the school the same time as the prom, but she was counting votes. Anyway, it looks like she's going home now. That car that she drives, that was at the boarding school when we moved into it this time. Not sure how it got to be there, but several of them have got one. I think it's the Motive Mobile. As soon as she got home, she got into her favourite hot tub. The problem with this hot tub is she just gets into it and I don't know she's there. Then I notice that all her needs are just dropping and dropping and dropping, and she just sits in the hot tub and she drops all her needs and she just doesn't want to get out. So I have to go down there and tell her to get out and go to bed. And then she goes into the little fairy house or castle, one or the other, and has a drink of pollen and then has a sleep. Sometimes she has a fairy party before she goes to sleep. But I would have thought the hot tub would have been good for her, but it's not. Maybe she just spends too much time in it. After school, some children do their homework or read a book, and some just play at being a king of the castle. But then Gator is a good little boy. He has done his homework. He always does it straight away. First thing next morning, a whole lot of them are down at the bottom basement, while a couple of them are playing with the group science project, namely Bailey and Coral. Bailey can stay there for another hour, but Coral's got to go to work. She's always the first one off to work. She works in the education career. Situation's getting serious with this lot. I've got several of the children writing books so they can advance in their writing skill. There goes Coral off to work. Looks like Sandy and Oscar and Gator down there. There's nobody working on the exercise equipment for once. Usually there's at least one of them working out. The garden even looks okay. There's the car. There's a couple of them in inventories usually. Bailey's about to age up. She's definitely having her birthday in this episode, even if nobody else manages to have a birthday this episode. I was so hopeful to be able to age up all three of them, but things just got so hectic. There were so many things happening. The usual Friday morning mad rush for the school bus. Tomorrow morning, first thing, Bailey's going to start out very early and use her collection helper to complete her lifetime wish. She's got to catch 20 small animals in the wild. And she achieves it, and we'll just watch her catch a few of them. The birds were the hardest. Most of them she could only watch, but occasionally she could catch one. She got a lot of snakes and rodents and turtles. Turtles are their best. There's lots of turtles around this day. But by the end of... yes, occasionally she got bitten as well. And by the end of the day she had managed to get all 20. Actually, it wasn't even the end of the day, it was late afternoon. And this is her final pet that she's got to try to catch. It's a little blue bird. And then she gets her lifetime wish. And now she just needs a birthday party and she'll be able to go back to Moonlight Falls. I'm thinking this might be a sign that young Jeanette's ready to age up to teen. On her way home from school, she stopped off at Varg's Tavern for something to eat. She's a pretty little girl. Wonder what she's going to age up like. I haven't seen her aged up. Now that is June Joyce. She's one of the sculptors. She's the evil sculptor. And she's found the magic mirror. And what's happening? I think she's getting transformed. That's another one of the sculptors in her military outfit. Now you'd never recognise June Joyce there now, would you? She looks nothing like she was before the mirror operated on her. So if I don't recognise some of the Sims around town, they may not be Sims that have been generated by the game. They could just have been to the tavern and used the magic mirror. Hopefully she'll go back to normal, so I'll recognise her again. Oh, Jeanette's having a look at the phases of the moon, I think. I think that thing's actually bugged. I don't usually use it, but it came with the tavern. Yeah, she's going to age up soon. There's some dumpsters back there. It's autumn in game now. I've got seasons set to 28 days except for winter, which is set for 14 days. Now while Bailey was out catching her animals, for her lifetime wish, she also gathered a lot of seeds, and she's planted them all, or not all, she's planted a lot of them in that garden. But now it's time for her birthday. She's got cake, and she's waiting for all of her housemates to come and help her celebrate. Must be a broken computer. That's not unusual. There's always a broken computer somewhere. Now, as soon as she's finished her birthday celebrations, we won't see any more of her because I'm going to take her straight back to Moonlight Falls. And then I took a couple of days off this video to move Sims around. There were too many Sims in Moonlight Falls, so I took a heap of them to, I think they went to Glenview County. And then I moved another lot from Sunlit Tides to Grey Meadow Island, and which was by Quail Hogs. And I had added a lot of other Sims that I'd left behind years ago to another couple of worlds. So I took about 3 or 4 days off to sort out all of that, because we need to add a couple of extra children to this boarding school in the next episode. But there it is. Bailey's aged up, and she's got her a new trait, which was natural cook. I thought that would be a useful trait for her to have. She is actually going to pick up her father and move to a different world, simply because when I take my Sims to Moonlight Falls at the moment, it's so overcrowded that the game sometimes crashes and sometimes just freezes for ages. So the solution is to just get not everybody, but get a lot of the extras out of there. And although she is a townie Sim who was a pre-made Sim who came with Moonlight Falls, I don't necessarily keep them in their original home world. We will see them all again. Remember, Eric is going to be taking Oscar visiting Sims in various worlds when Oscar has aged up. And Oscar is definitely aging up in the next episode. He'll be a teen. I don't know what's wrong with Eric, pretending to be scared. Bonehilda's safely locked in her coffin. She got into her coffin a few episodes ago and I didn't get her out again. I didn't put her in there, she just went in there all by herself. Looks like some of them missed out on cake. That's not exactly unexpected. Isabel can go over there and put some food on the buffet table so everybody will have a bit of something to sit down and eat to celebrate the birthday. The next Sim to age up will be Jeanette. She'll age up fairly early in the next episode, and then it'll be Oscar's turn to age up. Now, the youngest Sim in the household at the moment is little Mary Azul, and her imaginary friend has become animated. And she keeps getting an opportunity offered to her when dreams come true. But I won't allow her to accept that opportunity because it means we'll be spending the next half a dozen episodes with her searching for a rainbow gem. Don't want to bother with that. Instead, she's going to be working hard on finding the potion to make an imaginary friend become real. And to do that, she's got to work on the chemistry table. So we'll see her at the chemistry table quite a lot in the next few episodes. Or either she'll get her imaginary friend turned real before Oscar leaves on his first teenage adventure with Eric, or we'll have to come back to the boarding school occasionally to see her achieve it. As soon as she's done that, I'm planning to send the Little Mermaids plus Petal and Gavin back to households their original households, which were related to the Colourful Mermaids series of videos, in which they were all toddlers together. But that's the end of this episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a like if you did enjoy it, and choose to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, because that's very helpful to me with my channel. Thank you. Bye for now and happy simming.